Welcome to the Luxury Institute's podcast. I'm Milton Pedraza, Luxury Institute's CEO.
And I'm Katie Sousa, Senior Consultant, Client Relationships and Projects. In our last podcast, we initiated a new series called Extraordinary Customer Experiences, or ECEs. In Chapter 2 of that series, we plan to explore the definition of extraordinary customer experiences and how you differentiate the rare ECs from everyday ECs. We'll share several stories today, particular to luxury brands, and we'd love to hear yours. Whether you've delivered, received, or witnessed an extraordinary customer experience, please share your story with us. We would love to share it on this podcast and beyond. So, to begin, Milton, let's just start by defining what extraordinary customer experiences are.
Thank you, Katie. And we like to say that there are two major types of extraordinary customer experiences: the rare and the everyday. And of course, there can be a mix in between, but those are the two typical general definitions. Rare ECs are opulent, rich, grand, over the top, one of a kind moments that are designed exclusively for the highest tier, the VIP clients, and they deliver and inspire treasured memories and joy. The everyday ECs, and there's lots more of them, maybe almost an infinite number, are the emotional intelligence driven, meticulous attention to detail, personalized moments that inspire deep human connection and joy. Now, today we're going to explore a few rare ECs, and we're going to talk about Cartier, Brunello, and Aman. And we'll see how they combine their rare ECs with everyday ECs. And then we're going to talk about each one, especially about how the brand emphasizes their ECs to fit with their brand culture, their ethos, and their values, and how they can bring the human being into the equation to provide that extraordinary customer experience that makes everyone, the associate as well as the client, feel special. So, Cartier, let's say as a foundation that their brand pillars are about creativity, they're about freedom, sharing, excellence, unique journeys, and timelessness. And one story that we were told recently by a former senior executive that was an extraordinary, let's call it over the top, rare EC, was that they created a special event at Buckingham Palace, and they invited a very special, unique tier of VIP clients to Buckingham Palace to view and to be able to acquire a very special collection. And they flew these clients in by private jet from all over the world. They had the most exquisite food, venues, and then the pièce de résistance was the event at Buckingham Palace. Now, so that's a rare EC. Another EC that they deliver is that they design on an everyday basis a one-of-a-kind special piece to fit your personality and taste. And you will work with the craftspeople at the brand, the designers, so that they can deliver that extraordinary piece and the experience within which that piece is designed, developed, and delivered is a really wonderful, one-of-a-kind, extraordinary customer experience. But that's more of an everyday experience because they can do this for every client.
So, Milton, what it sounds like too is when we're defining the rare versus the everyday, in this particular instance for Cartier, the Buckingham Palace extraordinary experience is an invitation only. The brand is inviting their best client to this opulent, very grand, literally one of a kind type of experience. So it's an invitation. Whereas on the everyday, in this, again, particular instance, it's almost as if the client is initiating that ask. The client knows that this is something that Cartier offers, that they offer one of a kind designs that specify to their personality and things of that nature. Is that correct? Do we think that that's more client initiated and then the brand is executing that? Whereas on the rare, the brand is initiating that. They really created that opportunity and it was an invitation only for the client.
Right. I think it can be both. So obviously, the design, the preparation that went into the Buckingham Palace, let's call it experience, EC, was meticulous and initiated by the brand. Whereas I think in the everyday experience, where you can get a special piece, if the clients are aware, they can initiate it. For example, long-time clients will know, and they want it personalized. Sometimes they want the iconic pieces, but the clients can initiate it. And of course, when you're in the store or even maybe online, you will be made aware that this is an opportunity that you have not only to own a Cartier piece, but to have one personalized, customized just for you. So I think it's a little bit of both.
It sounds like the how of the everyday is so much more particular because it's individualized, it's specific. Whereas from a rare, it is still highly personalized, of course, but it's more about the brand, it's more about the venue, giving the client an experience. Whereas if you look at the everyday, that is one to one. That is, this experience is about me feeling an emotional connection to the brand and what it's doing for me.
I agree. And I think that the Buckingham Palace experience is probably likely to occur only once in a lifetime,
Hmm.
as even though the design of a one of kind piece is a unique event unto itself, there can be many, many more of them for each client. And so that I think is a big difference to point out. So thank you, Kate.
Okay,
Now,
let's move into Brunello Cucinelli.
perfect. Now, Brunello takes a very different approach. So their brand pillars have to do with the family teachings that Brunello Cucinelli's father taught him, the values that he inculcated in his life, and the made in Italy quality, that artisanal craftsmanship that is not is very rare and unique to Italy in its own style and its own lifestyle. Now, remember that Brunello Cucinelli also is an understated luxury. It's effortless and yet it's contemporary. So all of that goes into creating experiences. But I think the two most important elements that they point out drive their ECs are humanistic capitalism, create value with humanity, and humanistic sustainability. Produce, deliver with sustainable, but it has to also be humanistic. So the unlike Cartier, which is often creating these rare, extraordinary experiences, there's much more of an everyday approach to what Cucinelli does. And the best example we can think of is Casa Cucinelli, which is a transformation of luxury apartments and homes into nurturing and loving shopping experiences. Very personal, very human. So the elements that are thrown into that Casa Cucinelli that are blended in are the pampering of Solomeo, which is the town where Cucinelli originated in Umbria. And they like to say that they have a pampering Solomeo soul to their experiences. So some of the things that they do that are so rich and enriching are that they bring their ingredients from home, their wine, their cheese, their pasta. And so when you enter Casa Cucinelli, you feel like you have a sense of belonging to the family, that you're a guest in their home, and that you're going to be made to feel special and treated and given what they love to call a spirit of pleasure. And so that I think reserving Casa Cucinelli for the top clients and giving them that beautiful humanistic approach is something that Brunello Cucinelli, I think, does uniquely well. So, Katie, what do you think?
Oh, certainly agree. And when we were doing some of our research, I stumbled across this thank you note, and I need to discover whether when this was. It looks like it was 2019, but a client, I believe, wrote this and then they put it on beautiful Brunello Cucinelli stationery. It says, "Hi, I have received the shoes and they fit perfectly. I just wanted to say thank you again for all your help. They were packaged beautifully, fixed beautifully, and I am so excited to wear them. You are wonderful." Thank you for your incredible customer service and Happy New Year. And what a beautiful message, particularly coming from the client. So, to me, this is the exact example of an everyday EC where the client is so delighted, they're writing thank you notes, right? If we're creating that level of experience, that's truly remarkable.
And it was really in the way they curated the product for delivery, which is there's always an opportunity in every element of the experience to make it extraordinary. I think that's a key point. So, yes, thank you for that.
And also, the fact is, right, if you're reading what the story was about, receive the shoes, maybe it said fixed beautifully. So that again was an opportunity where they had to return something because it wasn't a great experience. So the recovery of an extraordinary customer experience is also prevalent. So I think what we're learning too is, and we know that extraordinary customer experiences can happen on a whim without any issues, without anything triggering that extraordinary experience to happen, except for great humanity, emotional intelligence, genuinely wanting to be kind and thoughtful for another human being. But there are so many opportunities when things don't go the way the client wants, when life is not perfect, when life is going up and down, to create extraordinary customer experiences that they remember forever.
Absolutely. And I think that is the creativity that you always talk about that drives the human creativity. And that's why I don't believe as much in AI creativity, because the human creativity, humans on the spot can be so resourceful and creative with emotion and to inspire emotion. And that's what I think makes humans unique. So
Absolutely.
what's the next one, Katie?
Let's go on to Aman, which is so fascinating.
The brand pillars of Aman are harmonious design, unparalleled locations. So they always pick these locations that are so extraordinary that they're one of a kind. Very importantly, enduring relationships, long term relationships. And with that goes privacy and generosity. And of course, they believe in helping you restore balance when you are at their properties. And along with that go pioneering experiences. So you're at a unique location, unparalleled, and also you have tremendous opportunities to go into the local culture, experience the humanity of the people who are there in a very respectful way. And so I think what I would call Amman is just this haven, this paradise. It reminds me of a song by Bob Dylan that says, "Come in, I'll give you shelter from the storm." And then, which the song doesn't say, "I'll give you an extraordinary customer experience." So let me share a couple of stories that I think really personify what the Amman ethos and culture are like. There was a couple that wanted to celebrate their 30th anniversary, a long-term client couple of Amman. The husband wanted to do something very special for the anniversary, so he had acquired a bottle of 1968 Burgundy, which was the same bottle they had on their wedding ring. Now, this is the 30th anniversary, and they arrived, and then lo and behold, the husband remembers that he forgot the bottle in New York. What did Aman do? It seems like an almost impossible mission. Well, because this client really needed to have that extraordinary experience that he had helped to design with the 1968 Burgundy, they chartered a plane at their expense to go back to New York and to bring back that bottle in time for the 30th anniversary. Now, that to me is an extraordinary, over the top experience, but it's
Hmm.
also very subtle, very personal.
Hmm.
A more everyday experience that wouldn't happen every day, but thank God it happened that day. Now, a more common experience is that when a group of guests needed to wake up to get to their 6 a.m. flight, a team of the Amman kitchen and the concierge got together. They got up at 1 in the morning. By 2 a.m., they had curated a breakfast for the team so that they could leave at 3 a.m. to catch that flight at 6 a.m. Now, that to me is humanity at its finest at its simplest, perhaps not simplistic, but simple, beautiful. And we're told that the tears of joy on both teams, on both sides, the guests and the team that curated that experience, were tears of joy because that was something really, really special and memorable, created as an everyday client experience. So I think those
I
are two.
couldn't agree more. What I love about Aman is how grand their properties are, yet how almost so exclusive yet inclusive. I find that they do both, right? They have these properties that are literally in unparalleled locations, but they are so inclusive the moment that you walk through the door that you feel like you're at home.
Yeah,
It's actually fascinating to watch because to me they are the new luxury. They are the luxury that all of these other brands are really trying to aspire to be, where it is understated yet it's so elevated at the same time. I
yeah,
love the stories, particularly Milton, because they are so human. They are so human in the fact of, in this moment, I am thinking creatively about what I can do to make the life of these people in front of me better. What can I do to overcome that concern on the part of the husband that he left the bottle of wine at home? Well, let's make it easy for him. Let's charter a plane and go get it so that he doesn't have to stress about it. Right? Again, to your point, it was understated on the part of, it didn't necessarily involve the couple where they went to this extraordinary place. They were already there, but to surprise them and delight them in a way that says, we solved every worry that you had. To me, that is a human extraordinary experience.
yes. And imagine how cared for and nurtured those two people felt. And that is an adventure of a lifetime. And one of the interesting facts that I have been told over and over, and we've conducted research for Aman, is that the team members, the staff, are encouraged to spend hours
Mhm.
engaging in dialogue and interacting with in whatever way they can do to make the clients feel special. 2 to 3 hours a day out of, let's say, a 7 or 8 hour day. That's extraordinary.
Right.
And yet they know when to pull back. They know when you want to be because they're always reading. They know when to engage and when to not engage and give you your peace and your space. So that, I think, is part of the mastery of building high performance client relationships.
Certainly, and creating extraordinary customer experiences. What these three brands tell me is the fact that there are extraordinary experiences that, like we define, they're rare or they're everyday, but they can either revolve around product or they can revolve around the human being.
Yes.
And by human being, I mean it could either be the client or it could be the human being providing or delivering that experience. I think, particularly for Brunello Cucinelli and Aman, they are far more on the not necessarily engaging product into the experience. It's more of what the client is doing, how to make them feel in a particular way. And I love Cartier because they are true to their brand. They know that people genuinely love their brand and they are creating loving, thoughtful experiences around their brand and product that people adore.
Yes.
So there's so many different ways for brands to create extraordinary customer experiences. But what we know through and through is these extraordinary customer experiences cannot take place without the human being involved.
Yes, Katie. And I will emphasize one final thing, that these brands are so authentic and unique, and they know how to curate, design, create, deliver extraordinary customer experiences that are a fit with their ethos and their values. And I think that's something that many brands miss. They try to do something that's way out there or fake or contrived. And what you need to do is have the creativity and the identity, the authenticity to let these experiences flow out of that, as opposed to try to create them in a sort of mechanistic way. And I think that's a mistake a lot of brands make. And And these brands really identify, personify what it's like to create extraordinary customer experiences, and I think that's why they're so iconic and successful.
Certainly. Milton, it also just makes me think when you say how authentic they are to themselves, but also to the experiences they create, they also are doing so because they genuinely understand their customer. Those, they know that any experience they create is also in line with what the customer expectations are, one, but also desires that they might not even know they have, right? How would Cartier even know that they should invite all of their VIP clients to Buckingham Palace? That is a thoughtful idea, but also understanding the client to know how much they would enjoy that experience. Whereas for another brand, I don't know that that would make sense for Brunello Cucinelli, or
Uh,
right.
yeah, because Cartier is so associated with regal, with royalty, with that extremely high end, and frankly, it's very difficult for even a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, to get access to Buckingham Palace. So
Correct.
that is a truly special, one of a kind, memorable experience.
Well,
So
this has been a great conversation. What we would love to do next is to hear from you. What are your extraordinary customer experiences? We've highlighted three here today: Cartier, Brunello Cucinelli, and Aman. Next podcast, we plan to dive in a little bit deeper into the human. So these are brands and how the brand has created an emotional connection. Let's dive into next time really what let's say the individual performing that and how they create an extraordinary experience. In our course, The Mastery of High Net Worth Relationship Building, we actually utilize case studies. You'll notice we don't necessarily talk about brands. We specifically talk about individuals, whether they are in automotive, they are in retail, or they are a wealth advisor or an attorney, and how they create extraordinary customer experiences for their clients and their customers, regardless of brand. So we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to comment in the podcast directly. You can send a note to luxuryinstitute.com. And Milton, I'll give you the final word.
we wish you good luck, but we also wish you even greater skill in delivering extraordinary customer experiences. And I would say extraordinary experiences for any human being who you come across. Thank you.